Hi students, it's Miss Ayala. Today we're going to be talking about open number lines. Now, open number lines might be a new concept for you, but I know that you understand what a number line is. Now, a number line, let's just say for example, this is your number line, and it starts at the number 3 and it ends at the number 9. Well, we know our numbers because we've been counting since kinder, so if we're going to count up, I have to get from the number 3 to the number 9. So what numbers are in between? Let's mark off notches and let's write in our numbers. So remember, I write, you write. So go ahead and draw this number line and we're going to fill it in. So after 3 comes what? Good. 4, then 5, good. Next, 6, next, 7, and then 8, and then we get to our 9. Okay, so these are number lines. And I went ahead and I filled in the missing numbers. And I know that that's what you do when you see a number line that's not complete. When you see a number line that's not complete and they don't have numbers on each of the notches, you need to number the number line. Everybody say that with me. You need to number the number line. Again, number the number line. Good. Okay, so when I have a number line that's not completely filled in, I need to number the number line. Now, sometimes when I have a number line, it's not going to show me every single part. And of course, I'm going to have to fill it in myself. Let's say, for example, that this is your number line. Remember, I write, you write. Let's say it looks like this. So go ahead and copy what Miss Ayala is doing. Okay, now you'll notice that I have 2 boxes here that are missing, but I also have some notches that have no number next to them. So whenever you have a number line that's not complete, what do? Good. We number the number line. So I need to look at this first, because if I go from 60 to some number, then there's this one, and then 66, and this one, then this one, then this one. Okay, I need to first figure out what the rule is. What is the pattern? Because if I jump from here to here, there's my blank number, and then I'm going to jump again and again, but I have to figure out what goes in each of these notches. That would make sense. So let's start off. We're always going to start off with the first one. Let's look and see if it's going by ones. So if it is, that'd be 60, 61, 62, 63. Uh-oh. Is this 63? No, it isn't. So it's definitely not counting by ones. So I'm going to erase and start over. Well, if we tried ones, what do we try next, students? Good, twos. So let's try by twos. 60, then 62, 64, then 66. It matched. Okay, let's keep going. Let's see if we hit 72 here. 66, what comes next? Counting by twos. Good, 68, then 70, good, then 72, excellent. So what was my rule? It was plus what? Good, plus 2. Okay, so now I can fill in my little box. That was 62, this one was 68. And I was able to show my proof down here at the bottom because each of them matched. So my rule for this one was plus 2. Okay, let's try another number line. Let's say this is our number line. Now remember, I write, you write. We're going to start with the box. So that's going to be one of my unknowns. Then I have this. So copy right along with me. Put this in your math journal. Okay, so now remember, we're always going to want to try to start off and see if it's counting by ones. If this is 115, then what would be right before it if I was counting by ones? Good, 114. So 114, 115, 116, 117. Ooh, does that match that? No, it sure doesn't. It doesn't match. So it's not counting by ones. So let's erase and let's start again. So we tried ones. What do we try next? Good. Yes, we tried 2. So let's try 2s. But if this is 115 and we're going to count by 2s, going this way, and then I have to go backwards by 2. So subtracting 2, here adding 2. So let's do the adding 2 first. 115 plus 2 gives me what? Good, 117. What's 117 plus 2? Good, 119. But does that match what we have in our number line? No, it doesn't. Okay, so we're going to have to erase. So nope, it wasn't by ones, wasn't by twos. Now, before I keep trying every single number, what do you notice about the numbers on that number line? Did anybody see something? Good job. I see a 5 and a 5 and a 0. Okay, what number do you count by that the ones place will give you 5s and 0s? Good job. Counting by 5s. Well, let's see if that works. So I'd say this is 115 and we're counting by 5. So 15, so think 5, 10, 15. What would come next? Good, 20. So 120, then 125. Good job. Keep going. Then this one would be, if that's 25, then good, 30, 130, because we have to put that 1, because it's in the 100s. 130, what would this one be? Good, 135, and then finally 140. So it worked this way. Well, if this is 115 and I have to go backwards, so if I go backwards, I know my rule is 5, so my rule was plus 5, but I have to go backwards here. So what would this be? Good job, second grade. That is 110. Good. So here on my number line, what I did is I took a look at my ones place and I noticed, well, that one I didn't have yet, but I noticed they were all 0s and 5s. When your numbers are 0s and 5s, you know that they're counting by 5s. So we were able to figure out that 110 went here and 135 went on that notch. So we made sure to number the number line, and we did it by finding the rule. Okay, let's try another one. Let's say for this example that your number line shows you this. Let's say it has letters and numbers. So I write, you write. Okay, now, first of all, I'm looking and I notice that I have to number my number line because I have letters. I have the letter F, the letter G, and the letter H standing for those spots, those points on the number line. So what I have to do is I have to figure out what F, G, and H stand for. But the only way I can do that, students, is by figuring out what the rule is. So I'm going to look at the number line and I'm going to think to myself, okay, if I was looking at it and I saw 350, and then my next big number is 450, then the next big number is 550, then automatically, what am I counting by? 350, 450, 550. That's right. All that changed were the hundreds. So if I was just jumping by those big jumps, it would be by hundreds, but I'm not because I have these little ones in between. So think to yourself, students, what is right in the middle? What is right between, right in the middle of your hundreds? What number is in the middle of 0 and 100? Think right here in the middle of your hundreds. Good. You have 50, right? So 50 is in the middle of the hundreds, but look, I have my 50 here, and I have my 50 here, and I have my 50 here. So I have to think to myself, look how it's jumping. So I start here and jump 350. Then I jump again, and what would I get? Because if I jumped a third time, I hit 450. So think, what's between 350 and 450? What would be right in the middle? If I drew a new number line, just like this, what would be here, right in the middle? Okay, let me help you. If I've got 350, 450, I think to myself, okay, I know how to count, and if I was counting 350, 351, 52, 53, 54, if I kept going and I added right midpoint. Midpoints will always be 5s, 50s, or 500s if you're dealing with big numbers. Here I know I'm not doing 5s, and I'm definitely not doing 500s because that would be a huge jump and I'd be working in thousands. So I know I have, my jump should be in the 50s, but then think, what is 350 plus 50 if that's the middle? What would it be? Excellent. It would be 400 because 350 plus 50, let's see, 0 and 0 is 0. 5 and 5, good. 10, regroup that. 1. 3 and 1 is 4. Good job. So right here in the middle, this G is 400. So this is 400. Okay, let's go back and let's count. 350, 400, 450. What would this be? Good, 500, excellent. So then think, if this is 350 and I have to go back, if I go to the left on a number line, I'm gonna be subtracting 50. If I go to the right on a number line, I'm adding 50. So think, you're at 350, subtract 50 to find F. What would it be? Excellent, it is 300. So F is 300. G was 400 and H was 500. So when we count it, let's see, you'll hear that we're counting by 50. So let's count our numbers. We numbered the number line. Let's count. We've got 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550. Good job, students. Okay, this one was a little tougher because we had to look and really think, but we're able to find it. It has to be reasonable. And there's no way that I could have marked this number as a 100 if the jump went to 350, because between 350 and 450, my two numbers that I knew that it wasn't 100 jump. It was 100 between those two. But what's in the middle of 100? That's right, a 50. So I had to think to myself between 350 and 450. Remember, we found that it was 400. So the biggest thing about open number lines is first to figure out what your rule is, what your pattern is. And here we were counting by 50. So it was plus 50 going to the right. And then it was minus 50, subtract 50 if we had gone to the left. Okay, let's try another one. Let's say this is your open number line. So remember, I write, you write. Let's write this out. That's 250. You have a notch. Then right here at this notch, you have the letter J. Then you have 400. Then you have another letter K, a notch, and then 550. Okay, you need to figure out which letter represents the number 450. So we're trying to figure out the notch or the letter. Is it either J or K that equals 450? Well, what do you notice? I see 50, and I see double zeros, and I see 50 again. Okay, so what are they counting by? Good job. Yes, they're counting by 50s. So my rule is plus 50, and I knew that just by looking at my ones and tens. That was 50, this is double zero. I know I'm in hundreds, and then there's a 50 again. Okay, so if we determine that our rule is plus 50, let's prove it. What is 250 plus 50? Good. That would just be 300. And if you weren't sure and you couldn't do the math in your head, that's fine. Write it out. What is 250 plus 50? 0 and 0 is 0. 5 and 5 is 10. 0 there. 1. Regroup it. 2 and 1 is 3. Okay, so we have 250, 300. What would this one be? Good. 350. Then we have 400. What would this one be? Good. 450. This one? Good, 500. Excellent. So which letter represented 450 on this number line? That's right. It was the letter K. And good practice is always to number the number line. And thinking about it, if I hadn't done that, I would still be able to make the reasonable guess that K would have to be my answer. Why? Talk to your partners and tell them, explain to them why K is the more reasonable answer than J. Excellent. Absolutely. Okay, so Miss Ayala was looking at it, and I saw that K, it had to be the most reasonable answer because K, looking at 450, I knew that 450 was greater than 400, so there's no way I could have put it in J because J would have to be a lower number. It'd have to be a smaller number. So I knew that it couldn't be J. There's no way. K was the only reasonable answer because going to the right on a number line makes your number greater. And 450 is definitely greater than 400. Okay, let's try another one. Let's say that your number line looks like this. Again, we're practicing with open number lines. Let's say that you only had 2 notches. Then you had that one in the middle that you were supposed to figure out. Okay? So what number belongs right in the middle? Would it be the number 35? Would it be the number 30? Or would it be the number 25? What number goes right here? And think, it has to be reasonable. So we're thinking to ourselves, first of all, we need to figure out the rule. I want to know what my rule is for my notches. So from 20 to this number is a jump. From that number to 40 is a jump. Look at what you have. Look at your ones in your tens place, ones and tens. What do you think they're counting by? Excellent. I agree. I think they're counting by tens. So 20, count by tens. What should this be? Good, 30. And then another 10 gives me 40. So here, the number, well, that notch represented the number 30. It wouldn't have been 25 because 25, let's see, if we were going to plug 25 in our number line, where would it go? So I'm going to make 2 more notches. Where would 25 go? Would it go between 20 and 30? Or would it go between 30 and 40? Good job. 25 would go between 20 and 30 because right in the middle of 20 and 30 is the number 25. Okay, so then where would the number 35 go? Yes, exactly. 35 would go right here, right in the middle of 30 and 40. Good job. Let's try one more. Let's say your number line looks like this. Remember, I write, you write. Okay, so my first notch is actually going to show me that that is worth 300, and this one is worth 500. Now, I'm supposed to find this number, what this number represents. And let's say it gave us these numbers to choose from. Which of those numbers, 400, 350, or 490, would be the most reasonable for this dot right there? Which one would I choose? What number does this dot represent? Okay, so what I want to do first is I want to think about numbering this number line. Even though there's no notches, I can still do it myself. Now I want to think, okay, I have 300 and 500. Right in the middle should be which number? Just think, these are in hundreds. So right in the middle of 300 and 500, you can even think of them as ones. What's between 3 and 5? Which number? Good, the number 4. But since these are in hundreds, we have to think in hundreds. Between 300 and 500 is the number, good, 400. So 400 is not reasonable. I can't select 400 there. Now that I figured out what my middle would be, right in the middle of this open number line, I can think very clearly, very easily, would this red dot represent 350 or 490? Good, that's right, 490. It couldn't be 350 because 350 would be here between 300 and 400. And since I know 50 is a midpoint, it's in the middle, 350 would be right here in the middle of 300 and 400. So this one must be 490 because it's really close to the 500. So 490 is my answer. So students, the only thing you have to think about when you have an open number line is you have to think to yourself, what am I counting by? What is my rule? So you're going to want to see if you can figure out the rule right away. And then you can think to yourself, okay, what is the midpoint? It might not be shown to you. You're going to have to figure it out. So you'll first think rule, then you're going to think midpoint. Now, looking at this open number line that I drew, what would be my midpoint between 100 and 200? What's right in the middle? Think. Okay, so let's say if this is hard, I want you to think to yourself, all right, what's between 1 and 10? What's right in the middle? Good. 5. 5 is right in the middle. So you either have 5s, 50s, or 500 right in the middle. So what's the only one that I could put right here in this middle? Would I write 105? Would I write 150? Or would I write 1,500? Good. I would write 150. 150 is the midpoint between 100 and 200. Okay, so students, now it's your turn to practice with some open number lines. Remember, you're always going to want to number the number line. Say it with me. Number the number line. Good. And when you number the number line, you're always going to look for the rule, and you're going to try to find your midpoints. And your midpoints are 5s, 50s, or 500s. Okay, guys, now it's your turn. Go have some math fun.